He asked me, where are you from? And I said, Iran. And he said, so you're a Muslim? I said, no, I'm Jewish. He said, nobody likes either.
The marriage between a non-Muslim and a Muslim person is not officially recognized, so you cannot officially be married.
Especially when the woman is Muslim.
That's right. It's even
Yeah.
harder.
Harder.
Yeah.
It's even worse. Yes.
Exactly.
Like that. The next door is a Muslim man, and he invites us for tea. He has this specific glasses for us because non-Muslims are not clean. So he sitting in a jeep, and then all four of you with your brother and your parents, and you just trusting this human smuggler. These days, I think in America they call them coyotes. They bring people, right?
So,
Coyote at that time. And it was only yesterday that we celebrated 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. America turned 250 years old, and it remains for millions of peoples around the world the shining city on a hill, the land of the free and home of the brave. But America, like any other nation and any other system which is created by man, designed by man, has its own contradictions, its own problems. But the difference is at the core, at the foundation of this country lies the promise of ideals such as unalienable rights to liberty, life, and pursuit of happiness. For generations, America has represented hope. People have come to its shores seeking opportunity, freedom, and to escape persecution. Millions of people looked at the United States as the last place to start a new life, among them many millions of refugees. Today, we will hear one of those millions of stories, fascinating story of someone who came to the United States with her hopes and dreams, realized them, and in return, she enriched the country and the culture that embraced her and opened her arms and invited her and her family to live here. Hello and welcome to Stand Up Historian. Today, I'm honored to have a very special guest, Dr. Maryam Sabetin. She's with me here. I give a quick introduction before I hand over this episode to her. She has a fascinating story. Dr. Sabetin was born in Iran. She was around almost 11 years old when they left the country due to religious persecution. She's coming from what I call a hybrid family. Muslim mother and a father of the Bahá'í faith, and persecution of minority people in Iran is something that everybody knows. So they moved to Pakistan. Most Iranians, they go to Turkey. They went to Pakistan. And from there, after 2-3 years of waiting for the process of coming to the United States through UN refugee High Commissioner, UNHCR, I believe that's what they call it.
United Nations.
Yes. She came to the United States finally in 2002. She attended the University of Boise State University, where she got her degree in microbiology, and finally she was accepted to University of Washington School of Medicine, and she is a practicing doctor living and practicing medicine in the state of Washington. Welcome, Dr. Sabetin. It's a true pleasure to have you here. Before we start this conversation, I want to introduce your book, which is Flowers of Kindergarten. You can find this book on Amazon. This is this is her story. This is the story of a family and everything they had to endure until they could finally get to the land of opportunities, land of the freedom. Welcome. Okay, where do you like to start? I'll leave it to you.
Sure. I mean, first of all, I like the speech you gave at the
Thank
beginning.
you.
It's motivating for sure.
Thank you.
And thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. It's up to you. You give a good background on, short, brief background on who I am. Do you want to start with questions?
Sure. I like to set the atmosphere here so our
Sure.
viewers can understand how was life like in Iran, living in a family which is a minority. In your book, you talk about the difficulties for your father to get a job because of his faith, and your mother's situation at the hospital, and how you spend a lot of time as a young girl with your friend at the hospital. So tell us about the life in Iran in general for a minority family.
Well, this was about 20 years ago, right? So
Sure.
things might have changed, but at that time, and still minorities are prosecuted, and they have limited rights. So Bahá'ís specifically are imprisoned. They do not have access to passports, so that's why we had to illegally cross the border. Obtaining a job, all of those things, like a good job is almost impossible, as well as attending college. You cannot attend college if
Yes.
you identify as a Baha'i. The marriage between a non-Muslim and a Muslim person is not officially recognized, so you cannot officially be married.
Especially when the woman is Muslim.
That's right. It's even
Yeah.
harder.
Harder.
Yeah.
It's even worse. Yes.
Exactly. And so it was, we knew even as a young kid, you must have read the details that you cannot talk about that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a secret. The gatherings are secret, obviously. If you're having ziyafat or if you're having gatherings, prayer gatherings, you do it in hiding. And that's what we had to do. We had to hide our identity.
In a way, it's a double life. I lived the same life
Yeah.
in the same country,
Yeah.
different time frame,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
years earlier, and you start to play a role for the public, and then you have a private life. In your private life, you have all the realities of your life, your beliefs, everything else. But when you go outside, you have to wear this mask. Nobody knows who you are because you'll be in trouble, and that's very unfortunate. And Baha'i faith is not considered an officially recognized religion or a denomination in Iran.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there was a huge persecution of Baha'is, and there's many horrific stories about that.
Still happening.
Yes, and it's still happening. Unfortunately, it's still happening. In your book, you're talking about a boy that, in many cases, harassed you, and you call him Devil Boy.
Oh, in Iran, that's
Yes.
right.
Yes. Tell us about the Devil Boy.
Yeah. He was the one that, ultimately, his character and his doing along with everything else was ultimately the thing that caused a lot of fear in our family and myself. And, the event where my hand was broken and my dad was attacked, that's something that is in my memory. And so I think in a way, what he did led us to kind of,
for sure,
be able to leave Iran and come out. But yeah, he was a character that I identified as the devil, right? Yeah, you have the monsters that you're scared of as a kid, and he was kind of mine.
Wow. And how was the public reaction to Baha'is? If you have a Muslim neighbor and they know you're Baha'is, what was the relationship in the society with people, not the government?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think for the most part, the Iranian community are very open-minded, and a lot of them are accepting, and they are not prejudiced. So we had good interactions with most of the public. Although, again, we tried to keep our identity a secret, but the people who knew, were mostly accepting. There was one lady that I remember, in apartments in Iran, she and her family left on the top floor, and we were on the bottom floor. They were very religious, very strict Muslims. And I remember, I think she kind of suspected that maybe we were non-Muslims. And at one point, I had broken my leg. And I was just like hobbling around the neighborhood, playing around. And then she looked at me, she's like, "You must have done something wrong to deserve this."
Oh my God.
Yeah, even as a kid, I was like stunned by that. I was like, "What does she mean?" Then I was like, maybe she's alluding to the fact that we are Baha'is. That was not the only incident.
Yeah.
There was other ones where I think she was trying in different ways to kind of be mean to us for being Baha'is. But general population, I think, are very accepting, very open-minded.
I tend to agree with you. In most cases, people are very tolerant, and the fact that Baha'is are just people of the same country, different beliefs, it's accepted for the people, obviously not for the theocracy that runs the country. I'm going to just interject my experience as a Jewish person.
Yeah.
I remember my uncle has this boutique in Isfahan selling nice clothes and stuff like that. The next door is a Muslim man, and he invites us for a tea. He has specific glasses for us because non-Muslims are not clean. So he invited us to have tea with him, and afterwards someone comes, takes those glasses that we drank in, and then wash them or destroy them or whatever. He never shared any of those with us because non-Muslims are considered, I believe it's a Shiite belief, but in any case. So you see little nuances like this, and then you realize that it seems like we speak the same language, we're people of the same country, but no, there is a second class and third class people in the same country.
Right, so he was willing to have tea with you.
Yes,
but just,
exactly.
Oh my gosh,
you know what? I like your company. I don't like your religion. So we never get to that. Let's talk about other things. We're fine, and then afterward
we will. Yeah. No, we had the same. So we have family members that did have us over, and same exact things. You cannot eat in the same dishes. You're welcome to go, but there are dishes I believe were discarded.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I think that's what happened. And in your story, you mentioned you were a very good student at the school. I don't know if anybody at the school knew you're Baha'i or not, or this is always an issue. So your family is living in Iran. Your father has difficulties to find jobs because of his faith, and they finally catch up with your mother, and they realize that she has married to a Baha'i man, which is in a way in that country it's a bigger sin than being a Baha'i.
That's right.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
it's a betrayal.
It is a betrayal. And you're talking about moving from neighborhoods to neighborhood. One incident was very interesting for me, and it was when you invited all other Baha'i children to your house. And tell us about that.
Yeah. So that's Dars Akhlaq.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So I don't know if you participated, but it happens every Friday because Fridays are off in Iran, and every other Friday as much as possible, where we gather as kids and read literature, sing Baha'i songs. It gives time for the Baha'i kids to mingle and just teach us about adabiyat, adab, not just religion, but just being polite,
Sure.
cultural values. And so that's what we were having, because there is no Baha'i house or Baha'i center in Iran, and so we gathered around in each other's home. So that particular day happened to be happening at our house. We rarely did it because our house was smaller, and but we did it a couple times, and that one time where bad things happened.
Tell us what happened.
Well, yeah, it was traumatic. We had prepared to avoid any kind of problems. Bringing all the shoes. Keeping quiet. If anybody asks, it's just distant family coming to visit. And then they everybody gathers, and my mom was out shopping. We were getting started when we heard a lot aggressive knock on the door, and thinking it might be another kid, and I wasn't even thinking, so I opened the door and I find the devil guy and
Again, yes.
again, and instantly fear sets in, and it's just everything else after that. I think in a way I have suppressed that a lot of the
Oh, I
memories.
see. Yeah.
But then, I remember pieces here and there. I remember my dad being on the floor with his blood over his arm, that, just like pictures that come to my mind. So that we never had another gathering like that in our house. We learned our lesson, unfortunately.
Yeah. For many of the viewers that they're not living in Iran, especially if they live in the United States, it's unthinkable that you practice your religion and someone comes and harasses you and attacks you and beats your father for practicing something that effectively has no intention of harming anything about Muslims or the faith or anything like that, but it's just not acceptable. There is no freedom of religion in Iran. So your family gets to a point that finally decides that it's time to leave Iran. It's not an easy decision to make. It's the land you were born. Your best friend, Maryam, is there.
Yeah.
And you talk about how close you two were together.
Yeah.
You incidentally told her about the secret that you will be leaving or escaping the country. So how was that when you, as a young girl, you understand that, okay, we're leaving the country? What does that mean to you at that age?
Well, it was in a way exciting because it had been a dream of mine.
Sure.
I had three wishes. One was to go to America, become a doctor, and then cure dying, and and so I was excited. My mom was nervous, and my parents were nervous, but I had hope. I was like, this is gonna work out. This is gonna be good. And so my parents said it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be challenging. We don't know what's gonna be in Pakistan. They told us, they tried to prepare us, and so. I was like, okay, it might be a little challenging, but we're gonna make it. And we're gonna be in land of opportunity where all of my dreams are gonna come true. But obviously, it felt like a betrayal for my friends, especially Maryam. In a way, it felt like a betrayal to the whole country. Like you're leaving behind your countryman and everybody else who's suffering, and you're rescuing yourself in a way. I think all of us who are here, a lot of us maybe have that guilt, right? That we have been rescued in a way, and we don't have to deal with those things while the rest of us are still there. And I wish there was something we could do. And specifically in regards to Maryam, my friend, who we had shared the same dreams, and we were the bestest of friends, and we were going to do everything together. And it was unthinkable to just do it without her. And so I had to tell her. And even to this day, I'm hoping to be reunited with her.
Someday find her. that would be a great day.
That
to
would
find
be
her.
awesome.
As someone who reads this, your book, I was thinking, okay, what happened to Maryam? What happened? And you talk about her mother being sick and all that, and the financial difficulties as the results of not being able to find proper jobs, have constant income for the family, and all these things. It's very difficult. So it gets to the point that you are leaving Iran. That journey, that adventure is fascinating.
Yeah.
You have to go to southern east most part of Iran, which is the border with Pakistan.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that. How did it feel sitting in a jeep?
Yeah.
And then all four of you with your brother and your parents,
Yeah.
and you just trusting this human smuggler.
Yeah.
These days, I think in America they call them coyotes.
Yeah,
they bring people,
I
right?
think so, yeah.
Coyote at that time,
Yeah.
and you just have to trust this person.
That's right.
Tell us about those moments. You're
Yeah.
sitting in the jeep.
Mhm.
You're trying to sneak out of the country. You
Yeah.
have no passport. You
Yeah.
have no business of being at the border and trying to leave.
Yeah. Well, as a 10-year-old girl with a lot of optimism, for me it was more like an adventure. I could
Sure.
feel the intensity and the fear in my mom and dad. I could feel that it was physically enduring and challenging to be in that hot weather and to be there. But I was just fascinated to just see the different parts of the world. Oh my God, this is the border. Like it looks the same, he said, "Oh, we are in Pakistan." And I was like, I looked back and it all looks the same. I was expecting like a door, a wall, or something, barbed wire. There was nothing. To trust somebody like that is crazy. I mean, as an
Yes.
adult, I cannot imagine what my parents must have been through. But in fact, I left this part out of my book. At some point, my dad says that I had this intense fear that this guy is gonna abandon us, and he for some reason is gonna for some reason might kill us here, and that intense fear in him he always talks about.
Wow.
Especially that scene where I talk about us stopping and
Yes.
just like having watermelon. My dad always recalls that moment. He's like, I prayed to God with everything that I had that we're gonna make through and
Okay.
and make it through there.
Good.
Yeah.
Wow, that scene is fantastic. And for many people, they don't even know what that region looks like. It's a complete desert, dry. There's no vegetation. There is nothing. That's why you could see the tracks of other cars
Yeah.
going through the. This is a silly question, but I'm going to ask.
Sure.
Why you went to the Pakistan instead of going to Turkey? Was there a specific reason?
I think, well, yeah. I mean, my parents, when they talked, I listened. They didn't talk to us about it too
Sure.
much, but I think because of the cost.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Pakistan's cheaper to live in, and there's a lot of Iranian immigrants living in Turkey, and they don't have as much success for some reason getting accepted to the UN at that time. And then there was less Iranians in Pakistan, and so maybe more chances for us to have been accepted.
Okay, yes, that makes sense. And then from the border, you have the journey to Rawalpindi.
Yeah.
You go to the Bahá'í house.
Yeah.
And tell us about Rawalpindi Bahá'í house and your arrival there.
Yeah.
And how was your feeling? What
Yeah.
could you fathom what happened? I was
Yeah.
in Iran the previous day. Now
Yeah.
I'm in a different country. I don't understand the language.
Yeah.
And were you even thinking about, okay, this whole charade, this whole process is because we believe in a different faith?
Yeah. Yeah, right?
Right?
Exactly. That's crazy to think just because of your belief you have
Yes.
to go through all of this. And so in a lot of ways it was fascinating because I was I was still on Earth, but totally different land and different people. You mentioned earlier that it was, as a 10-year-old, it was all just interesting to me to experience all of that. And then the fact that, you could see a difference, like you just crossed the border and now you have more freedoms. Yeah, as woman, you have more freedoms. As a Baha'i, you can actually say Allah Apa freely. In a way, like when I first heard people say that, I was like, oh, calm down, quiet. And I was like, oh no, we don't have to be quiet. And they actually had a beautiful Baha'i center where you could go and pray, and that was fascinating to me. I was like, well, the government here understands that different people have different religious beliefs. Although, I mean, still in Pakistan, and there is still some restrictions, but just for that freedom to have, that was fascinating to me.
So you actually realize that it's a very basic freedom. Because ironically, Pakistan, if I'm not mistaken, is the first Islamic republic, because it's Islamic Republic of Pakistan.
That's right.
I lived my childhood in Mashhad, and there was an embassy there, and I remember from all those years back that on their embassy says Islamic Republic of Pakistan. This was long before creation of Islamic Republic of Iran. So we see the variations of the same faith coming. One understands the freedom people need to have, and the other one restricts it as much as they can. And then, so you are there, and there is this house which multiple families live in the same house, this big yard. And tell me about your experience in that house, because it seemed like I was trying to picture that house. Everybody living in a different rooms or different settings.
Right. Well, I have some pictures. I wish I should have brought it.
You can send those pictures to me.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. So it was almost like a compound. So there's this street, and then there's Baha'i Center right here. Down the road is this big house. And so you enter, and then there's one little building, another building right there, like 4 different buildings, and then we are kind of tucked our place was tucked towards the end of it, and then a big yard with a swing, and then grass and everything, and it was exciting because I got to have our separate area, but then I could go and mingle in the area with the girls from our landlord, and it was fun. Neighbors.
So you live there, and then you have to start the process of being acknowledged or recognized as a refugee by the United Nations, and then go through that process. I like to explain that because sometimes people are so quick to judge everybody as, oh yeah, these people come here, they claim they're refugees, they take our resources. It's not the case about everybody. What you go through to be recognized as an official refugee, that's, I can't even imagine how hard it is, because the burden of proof is on you. You also mentioned that specific word. You have to prove that my life was in danger in another country. And they have to take you through this process. Tell us about that time frame when you applied to become a refugee. They rejected, and finally they accepted, and the process of getting a visa. I want our viewers to understand that how difficult this process is. Please.
So many different steps involved.
Yes.
In it. That's right. And so, I mean, when you get to Pakistan, I think that everybody understood. You got to go through these steps, right? So, first step is you have no business being there. You are illegally in Pakistan. And so you need to apply to United Nations and apply to be recognized as refugees. And to do that, you fill out some paperwork, you submit it, they review it, and then they invite you for an interview. And not everybody's accepted. There's, United Nations has certain criteria
Sure.
for who they accept, religion, based on sexuality, based on gender discrimination, and
Political
other things.
opinions.
That's right, yes. And so then you have to prove that you are in fact in that group, and you have to prove that you are oppressed and you are prosecuted and your life was in danger and you had to flee. And so, I mean, a lot of people who flee, they're in danger, so they don't have a lot of documentation.
Sure.
And so they just have to go based on what you say. And so the United Nations kind of separately interviewed my mom and dad. They asked the specific dates. So what date was that, and my parents, everything that we said were true, but they actually had to like memorize dates. Who remembers
Of
dates,
course,
right?
of course.
So they were like, okay, we were gonna say it was this dates, right? So they had to rehearse in a way
Yes.
for their truth to be presumed as true. And so that's one step. And then, so the United Nations then reviews your application. They either say, okay, you're accepted, and they give you this UN card where it says you are a refugee. Or they might say, sorry, we rejected your case. You can appeal, which happens a lot, and it happened to us. They don't give a reason why, I don't believe. And then so we reapplied, or we appealed the decision, and then the second time, then we got our UN card.
And you get the honor of being a refuge.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
It was like it's like you won something. You won the lottery when you get your UN card.
Exactly. And that's, in all honesty, is nothing. They just recognize, okay, you're a refugee.
Yeah.
And then the process, they have to find a country for you, and that a specific country we're not going to go through all of that, but it's a very difficult process. And then you have language barriers, cultural barriers. And even in your story, you're talking about how the relationship with other people in the same community of refugees could affect your case. There are people that they can go behind your back and report other things. And it's a very, very difficult situation. It's a very difficult situation to be in. So you finally, you and your family, you get, before you get the visa, something happened which was fascinating. I couldn't believe that. So, what?
Yeah.
I couldn't put the book down. So the most famous person you met in Pakistan.
Yes.
Tell us about her.
Oh my gosh, yes. I still can't believe that we did that. So, my dad in a lot of ways is just so optimistic and so believing. So, September 11 happens, and Christiane Amanpour is in Islamabad. She's reporting on the war. And so, we were desperate, like not sure what's gonna happen every day, waiting. I could feel the depression and tension in my parents. And so, my dad is looking and he's like, she is here. She's here. She's reporting. And then my dad's like, we should meet with her and we should tell her that in my dad's mind, we were already U.S. citizens because we got the we got the visa. We had the visa. It was revoked after September 11. But then he's like, we got to write a letter to President Bush. And we got to say, we are American citizens stranded here. That's what his words were. And so I spoke English, I wrote English, so I wrote this big letter. My dad wrote it in Farsi.
Which is in your book.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. He wrote it in Farsi, and he writes a lot. And then I sat down, and word by word, I translated, and then I put my own spin, and I wrote my own separate letter to President Bush. And so he had this crazy idea, he's like, let's go meet her. And
Christiane Amanpour.
Christiane Amanpour, yeah. And it was fascinating. We go to the most famous hotel, which is no longer there, Marriott Hotel. We knew that she must be staying there. And then, in fact, she was. Honestly, I don't remember how, but we got to her room. She invited us. And there she was. At that time, I didn't realize how important that is, how cool that is. But then there she was, a human, she was so sweet. She invited us inside. I still remember what she was wearing, Her hairstyle is the same. She was a very gentle soul. She was wearing these bright orange pants and khaki sweater, and she spoke in Farsi with my mom. And at that time, I was really fascinated by her, and I was like, "This is such a important woman, and yet she's so gentle." She's
Nationally
so
renowned journalist, for sure.
Absolutely,
Yes.
yeah.
Did that help your case?
Maybe because shortly after we got
You got the visa. Okay. Let's assume that it did.
Thank you.
Because that's the better version of this story. I love to believe.
She took our letters, so she said she'll do her best.
So Christiane Amanpour, the very famous journalist, her father was Iranian,
That's
I
right.
believe, and
Yeah.
she's a British citizen or a U.S. citizen?
I think British.
British citizen,
Yeah,
yes.
she was very young, I believe, when she left Iran at the age of 5. And she studied on her own. Like, she was there on her own, and she went to college and did all her education kind of away from her family.
Yeah.
That's my understanding.
That was a very interesting part of your book. So you get to a point that you are ready to leave, but there's another character that actually had a very important role in your life, and that is the Afghan English tutor you had, Mr. Mangal. Mr. Mangal.
Yeah.
Tell us about Mr. Mangal.
Mr. Mangal was an Afghan Pashto refugee from Pakistan himself there, who we got introduced through Bahá'í house as a tutor, and he was tutoring different different Bahá'í families, different Iranian families, and he was a very, very kind person. He always, even though he had his own issues, obviously, he always was willing to help anybody, everybody. A lot of people didn't even pay him for his, time, but he still continued to help everybody. He helped other families translate their cases. If they needed anything in there, he spoke Urdu. So he was, in a way, a resource for a lot of different people there. That's right.
And what I found fascinating is when you go to Pakistan, someone is trying to look down upon the people in Pakistan, and you recognize that, hey, we are refugees here. They're helping us. We're in their country.
Yeah.
They're the host. We're the guests.
Yeah.
We can't treat them like that. And then the same thing with people from Afghanistan.
That's right.
It's the same. And you realize that we are the same people in need, and we need to support each other. It was very interesting that he helped you and your brother to. Did you learn English from him?
That's right.
Okay,
yeah,
you
yeah,
did.
Yeah,
Was it good? Okay.
Yeah, I mean he in a way, I learned English so fast that I got a lot of customers for it.
Oh, okay.
Everybody was like, "How did you learn English?" I mean, I was young. You
Sure.
pick it up like a sponge when you're young.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So you finally arrived in the United States, New York City, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
You arrived in New York City.
Yeah.
What was your feeling? How did you feel that? Did you realize that? I mean, because at that point you're 12, almost 12, 13 years old,
That's right.
and you're in New York City,
Yeah.
the most important, most interesting city on the planet.
Yeah. I mean, as a young girl who had dreamed of going there, land of opportunity where all your dreams are gonna come true, it was like standing at the gates of heaven, in a way. I stood there. Yeah, I stood there. It was cool air. I was feeling cold, and I was just looking at the skyscrapers. Just take a moment as a teen, and just look at this land where I'm gonna be living. It was a little bit intimidating. Like, am I gonna fit in? There's so many people. It's a rush, and so many things happening. But it was just that moment of zen, a moment of happiness, like the euphoria almost, that, oh my gosh, we are here. It actually, we actually did it. Here we are. It was like a dream that we never thought we would realize, and then there I was.
Yeah, there you were. Amazing. And then I know that life is not easy for refugees after they land in the United States. You have to go through, again, lots of paperwork, you have to find jobs, you have to find housing, you have to do all of that. But despite all those troubles, you became the doctors you wished for. You came to the United States, you became a doctor, and honestly, every time I hear a story like this, I'm very proud of that person, regardless of where they are from. It makes it doubly
Doubly how
sweet, inspiring when someone comes from the country you were born in there as well. How difficult was it to become a doctor?
Well, you know,
For you as someone from outside, you finished the high school here.
That's right. Yeah, you know, the beginning when we first came to the U.S. And I think this is actually, I was reading a book that really explains that when refugees first arrived to the U.S., that is in a way a lot harder for them than the challenges they have been through before.
Wow, interesting.
And the reason is because you think you arrive and all your problems are solved, and that's really not the case. You have to work for it, and you have to do everything. And so the beginning, it was really hard. You know, going to middle school was one of the worst times of my life, honestly, because I didn't fit in. This was in Boise, Idaho.
Yeah.
At that time, and there was very limited diversity. And I didn't understand the kids. They didn't understand me. Not just language. It's just the culture shock was very, very challenging. Interestingly, academically, I was doing just great. You know, almost right away in school. And then I went to high school. Things were about the same. I hated high school and middle school. Then I went to college, and college was a totally different experience for me. And I'm not sure why. Maybe there was more diversity, it was bigger, and I was more focused on my studies. And so I loved college. Boise State gave me a lot of opportunities, and I seeked every opportunity I could because I knew it would be challenging to get accepted to medical school. And so I did everything that I should have done. I did research, I did tutoring, I did everything to make sure that my application gets accepted. And I was happy to get accepted to UW, and then moved to Seattle to attend UW.
People say they still talk about racism. I personally never experienced it. Never experienced it. Biased, maybe, in some situations.
Yeah.
But straight up racism that someone comes to your face and says something, I never experienced it here. I want to know if you ever experienced that in the United States.
In the United States, I think I agree with you. Not outright racism. I think that in a lot of ways I did experience, I don't know how to word this, but maybe bias. Maybe bias, because and I believe it's all due to ignorance and not misunderstanding, but ignorance. So there was one incident that I will never forget. So when we first moved here, and still to this day, I am the one who translates for my parents.
Sure.
And so my dad was driving. I was like 14, 15-year-old. My dad gets stopped by a cop, and the cop comes and opens the window. You know, my dad opens the window, and so he says something. Then I start interpreting for my dad, and the cop says to my dad, "I know you speak English. Just talk to me."
Oh.
At that time, I was confused, and still to this day, I'm confused. Was that
Why would you
racism?
assume that?
Yeah, why? And he was being very aggressive to my dad for maybe going 5 miles per over the speed limit. Things like that has definitely happened. Making assumption about our fate. You know, one day we were driving. My mom doesn't like to sit in the front of the car, she's
No shotgun for her.
no shotgun. So she always sits in the back with me. I like the back of the car. So my brother sits in the front, my dad drives. And people sometimes see that and they assume, they always ask us, is it because you're
Oh my God.
of your background or woman?
Is it a cultural thing that your mom sits in the back?
Yeah, I don't think they would assume that if they saw somebody from here do that. And I have to always, like, I feel like in a way I have to always explain that no,
Sure.
this is not why. It's not because of our cultural background.
Very interesting experiences. My experience, I'm
Yeah.
going to share that for the first time here.
Oh yeah.
I was in a business dealing with someone, and the person asked me, finally, he mustered all his courage, because in the settings like that, you don't want to ask anybody where you're from, what's your religion, or anything like that.
Yeah.
He asked me, where are you from?
Yeah.
And I said, Iran. And he said, so you're a Muslim? And I said, no, I'm Jewish. He said, nobody likes either. I was like,
Oh my God.
I said, well, I take that as a compliment if it comes from.
Oh my
But
gosh.
my experience here as someone comes from Middle East, it has been nothing but getting love from the people. I understand the ignorance. I understand that. And sometimes when people ask, I feel like they just want to make sure that they don't say anything to offend you.
Yeah.
And at the same time, they don't understand how things work. But the fact is, in case of women sitting up front, as far as I remember, you usually open the door in Iran for your mother, your wife, whoever, they sit on the front.
Yeah.
It's not never on the back, unless there is a phobia or something.
Yeah.
So it's a unique experience to live in the United States.
Absolutely.
Tell me overall, what's your feeling about this country? Living over 20 years here,
Yeah.
you have your own family, your son, your husband, and you're a professional woman working here in no less than medical practice. What's your view? What's your understanding of United States? Are you hopeful for the future of the United States? We celebrated 250th anniversary.
That's right.
And what do you think about United States, what it is today, state of the country today and future?
Yeah, so I think United States is very unique because it's a mix of everybody, right? No other country is like United States. And so in a way, America is the best country in the world. That being said, I think there's definitely challenges, and especially the political climate happening right now. And I think that with education and with time, things will improve. That's my hope.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And
What are your thoughts on that?
I cannot put my love for this country in words, because I try to understand it. I try to understand the idea. What was the idea behind this thing? You come to this country, yesterday you belonged to a different culture, different country. Today you're part of this country. Even during the Revolutionary Wars and independence, people came from Europe, the next day they're Americans, and the day after they die in a war to protect and to get independence for this country. What is this? So then you realize that it's a very special. How many times in generations of humanity you find a second chance to go to a completely brand new land?
Yeah.
There is no presumptions. There is no cult. There is nothing that binds you to some old understanding of relationship between people. You can join, and they say, okay, take your chance. Go ahead and do as much as you, and you can go as far as you want to.
That's right.
Literally, sky is the limit, and I always enjoyed it. And
I think that I think America is an idea.
it
right?
is.
Yeah.
It is an idea, and people bring that idea into life. And once we start to understand each other and realize that, okay, we're all part of this, and we have to protect this idea.
Absolutely.
Honestly, there is not, because the migration
Mhm.
patterns are from east to west,
To West,
and
yeah.
there's nothing west. The west, farther west, is going to be the ocean.
Yeah.
so
This is
so we
what
better,
it's like.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Doctor, I enjoyed our conversation. Thank you very much. It was amazing to go back, remember what happened in our country, and how valuable is the existence of the United States.
Absolutely.
You, as a child, you were dreaming to live in a country like that. How many countries can claim that? People dreaming to live in that country.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. And thank you all for watching. And God bless you all, and God bless America. Thank you.